Post.
Welcome back to the program. I'm Zev Brenner. Many are confused, especially if you watch television, read newspapers and other media. They're bombarding you. This is a time to change your Medicare plan, then Part A, Part B, Part C. Very confusing out there, but Medicare, Menachem Friedman, and full confession, I've used him, and he's on top of his game, and it's important because with so many choices out there, you can get confused. So Medicare, Menachem Friedman, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Zev. Good luck. It's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to be here. So tell us, there's so much information. Everybody says, I got the best, but I'm going to give you the best coverage if you have Part A, but you have to match it with this part, that part. First of all, how did you get involved in this business? Let's begin with that.
A great question. A little over 15 years ago, actually more like 20 years ago, I was in financial services working at New York Life. And my grandparents, Alei Shalom, they asked me a few years into the insurance business, Menachem, can you come to the house and take a look at our insurance? It turned out to be Medicare. I was confused, and they were certainly confused about what their choices were. And it took me a good 6 months to figure out they were not in the right plan for their situation. And after I realized that they were Holocaust survivors, English was not their primary language, this is probably happening to a lot of other people as well. And I strictly just focused on Medicare. I dropped all the other lines of insurance that I was doing, and 15 plus years later, here I am today.
So every year, especially around November time before the deadline in December, which I believe is December 7th this year, there's a whole campaign. So what's going on? Should people be changing? What happens if they just turn 65 or they already have a Medicare plan? What does it all mean? Do I stick to the same plan that I already have? People ask, or should I be looking at it anew, refreshing it every year?
It's a great question. It really depends on your situation. So the first thing I would say is, when you turn 65, should I be signing up for Medicare or not? Many people, they should, depending, unless they have coverage from an employer, they might be able to keep their group coverage to avoid a penalty. So each person's unique situation has to be looked at. It can't be just because my friend has this and this is what they're doing means that I need to be doing the same thing. That's in regards to signing up for Medicare. In regards to the plan making, each person's situation is unique. I view it as if we all go into the store together, we all go shopping. We all have unique tastes, we all have different sizes, we all have different needs. Same is true with Medicare plans. It's not a one-size-fits-all type of a situation. And we really need to look at each person's situation and see which medicine plan is going to be most appropriate, which plan, if they're going to want a Medicare Advantage, if their doctors are participating, and which supplemental plan would be most appropriate based on a person's financial situation, where they're moving, where they're going. So there's a lot of different facets that go into finding the right plan for each individual.
Now, so how does one navigate it? So, you're an expert, so you can help, but how does one look at different plans and get confused? Everyone says, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best. You get full coverage here, full coverage there. It could be, unless you're an expert, it can really be very confusing. I mean, I've seen all these, everybody looks good.
Right. So you have to be able to discern a little bit. Usually when you might see a commercial and they're offering you free this, free that, free this, free that, free gym, free dental, free hearing. You might even think free tickets to Las Vegas for them to try to get you to sign up. There has to be, I don't want to say a catch, but if you're going to be getting this kind of a benefit, you might be losing something on the other side. So you really need to be able to make an informed decision and know all the facets of all the different plans that you were going to consider.
So this is personalized. Everybody, of course, is different, and everybody's different needs. But what is it about Part A, Part B, Part C? What does this all mean for those that don't know?
Sure. So Medicare Part A is hospital. Generally speaking, Part A, which is hospital, that's going to apply to anything that's inpatient, someone staying in the hospital. Generally speaking, that premium is free. You won't pay for Medicare Part A. Then there's Part B. Part B is hospital, doctors. Anything outside of the hospital, outpatient, doctors, labs, you name it, is going to fall under Medicare Part B as in boy. Part B as in boy does have a premium, and that is income-based. So how the government determines that premium is they look at your taxes from 2 years ago, and they determine for that year what your Medicare premium is going to be. And therefore, if someone is going to be collecting Social Security, they can take it right out of the person's Social Security check. If they're not collecting Social Security, chances are they're going to be getting a quarterly bill. That covers them for 80%, which I like to call a good start. After that, now we can sort of separate and figure out which is going to be the best direction for each individual's needs. either by going with a Medicare supplement and a drug plan, where we keep Medicare as the primary insurance, or someone takes a Medicare Advantage plan, which is a lot of the commercials that are on television, which includes doctors, hospital prescription, and additional benefits that aren't normally covered by Medicare at a very little or no premium. But we need to make sure that all your providers are in the network. And also, most importantly, Medicare is not the primary insurance, it's the insurance company. That's a big no-no that people think of.
Now, can people change at any time, or is it December 7th, a locked date that if you don't do it by then, you're stuck with this plan for the next year?
Great question. So generally speaking, the open enrollment period is from October 15th through December 7th. If someone does take what's called a Medicare Advantage plan and they're unhappy with it, they can disenroll from that plan. There's one opportunity they can during the first quarter of the year, during the enrollment period, where they can make a change to go to a prescription plan and a Medicare supplement plan and go off their Medicare Advantage plan if they choose not to like it. There are also some other election periods throughout the year where people can make a change, but depending on what the situation is, they may or may not be able to. But for most, it's from October 15th through December 7th.
So people have to make up their choices right now, and you help navigate. You find that people are confused that are calling you? What do you find to be the most prevalent item that people want to talk to you about?
Many people like to review their medication plans. That's something that's very important for people, but it's also very important to be able to look at the whole plan as well as their supplemental plan as well. Many people also think that, you know what, I already signed up for a plan. It's November 18th. I signed up for a plan. I can't change. You can. The last application that goes in by December 7th is the one that sticks with you for the next year. So just because you might have made a decision, or you feel that you made a decision already and you want to be able to get a second opinion, then you can still revisit that, and you're not locked in for next year as of now. It's really whatever plan you have through December 7th is what's going to stick.
And obviously with the Medicare programs, you'll pay a lot less than what they've paid prior to then, with whether it's Oxford, whatever, Aetna, whatever the major programs are. It's quite a savings.
Yes, for sure. And I found in many situations, the doctor and hospital coverage is excellent, or could be even far superior on Medicare than on their commercial insurance that they had before.
And some of these plans are quite good compared to what the health plans were, which they had certain restrictions, and you had to meet certain financial deductions. I think it's a lot more flexible on the Medicare plans.
Correct. As long as the individual keeps Medicare as their primary insurance, individuals aren't going to have prior authorization, pre-certification, stuff like that. If someone chooses a Medicare Advantage plan, you may run into those obstacles.
If people want to learn more about the choice, or again, the clock is ticking to December 7th, how can people get in touch with you?
Great question. I would say for people to get in touch with me, you can find me online at mindfulmedicaresolutions.com. It's mindfulmedicaresolutions.com, or you can call me 347-738-6846. Once again, my office number is 347-738-6846. I'm licensed in over 25 states, New York, California, Florida, just to name a few of them, and many in between.
I'm curious, are the laws different in every state when it comes to Medicare with these programs, plans?
In certain states there are, yes. For example, Minnesota is a tricky one. Connecticut is a tricky one. Massachusetts is a tricky one. But once again, I'm licensed in these states, and I know exactly how to navigate. And
so how does it work if you're a snowbird? You spend some a year in New York, some in Florida. How does that affect the coverage plans?
Great question. So what I try to do for individuals like that, ideally, original Medicare with a supplemental plan, I find is going to be the least restrictive, and it gives people the freedom and flexibility to find doctors without any type of issues. There are certain situations where Medicare Advantage can work if people find that that's what they need and what's going to fit their budget. So you have to be able to find a plan that's going to have a vast network of providers that's going to work for the snowbirds.
We'll take one email question before I let you go. This BC writes that so-called Medicare Advantage plans are way inferior to traditional federal Medicare. Medicare Advantage are run by for-profit companies that institute prior authorizations, and many doctors and hospitals not accept these plans.
Correct. I agree with you. Some of those plans I call the HMO Yamach Shemo plans. So it's important. So if someone is going to choose a Medicare Advantage plan, I strongly advise individuals to take original Medicare with a supplemental plan, because I think that's going to be the right coverage for people. but certain unique situations, because of financially, whatever it may be, then some people will enroll in an Advantage. But otherwise, I say Medicare supplement, original Medicare is important. That's what I have all my family members on, and I'm a firm believer of that.
Let's give out your number one more time.
Say that again?
Let's give out your phone number and information one more time.
Once again, Medicare Menachem Friedman. You can find me online at mindfulmedicaresolutions.com. That's mindfulmedicaresolutions.com, or at 347-738-6846. Once again, 347-738-6846. And I look forward to hearing from you.
And Medicare Menachem Friedman, thank you for being on the air. I find your style is wonderful. You follow up, which is so important because people are very busy. So continued success in helping people navigate the Medicare maze, and certainly is that. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Zev.
That's Menachem Medicare Friedman here on the Talkline Network. When we come back, we'll be looking at